Hey everybody, Jason Schneider here, founder of PerceptionAcademy.com, and in this video I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite presuppositions of NLP, which is that people are not broken, they work perfectly well. And this is such a huge paradigm shift from the way that psychology had thought before. So psychology before NLP, for the most part, had studied the abnormalities in people. They had studied for what was broken, what was wrong, and created entire textbooks looking for and classifying and categorizing what could go wrong in human development. And then comes along NLP that says there is absolutely nothing wrong with people. People cannot and are not broken. They work perfectly well. So rather than looking at the perspective of abnormal psychology about what could go wrong with people, we in NLP as neuro-linguistic programmers and the earlier neuro-linguistic programmers started looking at experience through the eyes of an engineer or of a programmer, saying that people work perfectly well to achieve their desired outcome. And if I had the same ideas, the same representations, the same model of the world that they did, of course, I would be achieving that same exact outcome as they do. So clearly there's nothing wrong with the person. The problem is with their model of the world. If someone is horrified of puppies, which I know so many of you out there are just completely terrified of puppies. But if there is someone in the world who's terrified of puppies, that experience works perfectly well. There's never a time that that person sees a puppy and doesn't feel fear. I mean, this is a real example. If someone is scared of heights, that experience works perfectly well. When they are approached with the proper stimulus, they give the same response every time without fail. That programming works perfectly well. And this really ties in with the understanding that everything that you do, you're doing excellently. You are extremely skilled at it, whether it serves you or whether it doesn't serve you. You have practiced this over and over and over and over and over again. You've got this dialed in. You are an expert. You are a skilled master at your patterns, whether it's something that just is unbelievable and leads you towards genius, or whether this is something that really holds you back from unleashing your potential. And so this understanding that people are not broken, that they work perfectly well, allows us as practitioners of NLP to be able to find and focus on the programming that is causing the person to get the response, this programming that works perfectly well. And it allows us to be able to show somebody that, well, if I had this programming, I would be responding the same way you do. And if anybody had this programming, that they would be responding the same way. And so even from a higher level, when you pass this understanding, this frame of mind that listen, you're not broken, you work perfectly well, you are actually a skilled expert, and if I had that same model of the world as you, I would be responding the same way that you do. It takes a lot of weight off of somebody's shoulders. It lets them kind of separate, depersonalize themselves from their behaviors, themselves from their patterns, and to be able to look at it from a fresh pair of eyes, to look at it from a place of acceptance, a place of at least understanding. And from that place, it opens them up to be able to change, because it's not about me. I will still exist when this pattern changes, rather than I am broken, this has to do with me. And with that belief comes another presupposition that if we change this pattern, that I will no longer exist because I am that. So all in all, this is such a huge paradigm shift for a lot of people, and an extremely empowering one. And so if you don't believe this, or if you ever find yourself saying, oh, what's wrong with me, there's something wrong with me, kind of call the time out, take a step back, think in your mind or understand in your mind, or step into a world as if that there's nothing wrong with me. The problem is not me. The problem is my model of the world. You'll find yourself in a much more empowered state, and also to be able to facilitate your clients from that place. So when one of your clients says to you, either something so wrong with me, or I'm broken, or what's broken with me, then you can facilitate them. Don't fall into their trance. Don't believe their unresourceful belief, but be able to step back and reframe that and say, listen, there's nothing wrong with you. If I was thinking the same way you were thinking, I'd be responding the same exact way. And this presupposition here gives you a lot of room to look at your client through the eyes of an engineer or through the eyes of a programmer. And from this presupposition, we're able to do some really cool stuff in NLP. So as always, if you have any questions, leave it below. It's my job to serve you to take your NLP practice to the next level. So leave your questions below. Definitely leave your comments below. And of course, if you have any feedback, then leave it below, because I'm on this journey just along with you to master myself, to master my perception, and to master my ability to facilitate you to master yourself and your perception. So with that being said, have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in a future video.